Our very own Zac Gallen wrote a pretty incredible article for Players Tribune, giving you a little bit of a run for your money.
Yes.
Not being the best writer in the clubhouse any longer. I'm sorry about that. But
I mean, they've got the Players Tribune. They're not just the players aren't writing all these words, Derek. There's an editing process here.
Listen to you, you monster.
I'm just
this was ghostwritten by
I'm just
somebody.
Insecure.
I know.
A major league starting pitcher could be a much better writer than me. But this is a very very cool story at the Players Tribune.
It absolutely is. He talked about the Diamondbacks postseason run. And he said his favorite part of the run was seeing fans get behind this team. And there's something about that makes me a little emotional because, like, I think Christian Walker addressed it a couple of times and there was some negative feedback in regards to it or whatever. Like, it's kind of a weird attitude where here in the Valley towards the Diamondbacks, there's almost the like, well, win and we'll support you kind of, attitude towards this team.
Yeah, right.
Whereas when you play for other franchises in baseball, there is just an undying love of you.
Yeah, there's a
good or
more
bad. Through the good times, through the bad times, all of that, right? But like, I would have to say that I can understand because based on his time here in the Valley, this was probably the most support that this team has ever seen. I think it does go beyond the winning, though. I think it goes into this year's team had guys that people were truly fans of. We started to love these players on this team. And Zac Gallen is one of those guys, right? But it also goes on to Corbin Carroll, Alec Thomas, Jerry P., Gabby, all these guys. Tommy Pham, the amount of jumping I did for Paul Sewald every time Ryan Thompson came out, just going crazy for tea time. Like there was just things about this team that I felt like this year's squad was different from even successful teams in the past for the Arizona Diamondbacks. It's young guys. It's guys that are going to be here for a while. And I feel like the support for this team did shift, and it goes beyond just the fact that they made the run that they did.
Yeah, this is how the story started. I just have to read this because it really is so good. Zac said, there were a lot of cool things about the 2023 Arizona Diamondbacks run to the World Series, but I have a pretty strong opinion on what was the coolest. It wasn't taking care of business in Milwaukee. It wasn't coming back from 0-2 against the Phillies and winning Game 7 at their place. It wasn't Marte barreling up everything he saw or 4 home runs in one inning. Honestly, it wasn't even sweeping the Dodgers. Those things were all amazing, don't get me wrong. If you ask me, the best thing about this run was the pure joy our fans got to experience, the looks on everyone's faces, the energy around the city, the roar that we'd hear at Chase when we were stringing hits together or when Mert or Fott or Ginkel needed to make a big pitch. It was unlike anything I've ever experienced, and it made me so proud to be a part of this organization, this city, this community. I won't forget it as long as I live.
Sign the contract.
Yeah, right now. Right now.
I know that's what everyone is thinking.
I'll draw it up.
I didn't win on this card, but you can have this quarter. I don't give a shit. I will give you anything I have for this man. Jesse, he went on to say, we didn't win it all, obviously, and I hate that. But what we did do was still pretty fucking sick. And it really felt like we did it together.
Yeah.
And man, if that doesn't get you choked up about this team, I don't know what will, right? Like, this is a guy who honestly is like one of the more cerebral people in the clubhouse, and at the same time also one of the most laid back, right? Like, so for his emotions to come out like this, and for him to say that, for seeing that reaction was his favorite part, like, that's amazing. You know what I mean? That's an amazing feeling. And obviously we know the contract stuff is what it is. We know that the outlook on that isn't great, but you get the feeling that this city and this team means something more to Zac Gallen, and that should be something that this front office is pursuing and trying to keep here for the long term.
100%.
And there's no doubt about that. Obviously, I'm just preaching to the choir here, but the way the story ended, Jesse, tear.
Yeah, it's pretty good stuff at the end too. I guess I'll just read it again. Zac said, before this year ever I can speak, I promise. This is what I do for a living, apparently. Before this year, ever since I arrived in 2019, there hasn't been much for people to cheer about, and that's on us. We didn't play up to our potential, and our fans weren't happy about it, rightfully so. I wouldn't have been happy either as a fan. But that was a different time, and we're never going back to it. It's a whole new era of D-backs baseball as far as I'm concerned. I can't wait to see where things go next. See you all in March.
Give me a brick wall. I need a brick wall right now. Damon, find me a brick wall. Oh my God.
I mean, if you're a fan of this team and you didn't have like a deep emotional reaction to reading this story, I don't really know what to tell you.
Check your pulse. Check your pulse.
This is everything that, if you're a Diamondbacks fan, this is everything that you want to see out of like your frontline starting pitcher.
Except one thing.
What are we missing?
Jesse, when he said D-backs baseball, he used an apostrophe.
That's, you know what? I wasn't going to go there, Derek, but if we have to.
Hyphen, Zach. Let's talk to your editor, pal. We got to talk about proper, what is it?
That's on the Players Tribune.
Yeah, that is on the Players Tribune.
That's their job. We know that Zach wouldn't have made a mistake that egregious.
Absolutely not.
But yeah, he also in this story, he definitely plays into the narrative of the D-backs being the underdog. And, he talks about looking at Torey Lovello during the Dodgers series and, saying, hey, these people don't think we belong here. And Torey agreeing with it and being like, yeah, they don't think we belong here. And just the satisfaction of time and time again, just being able to overcome those expectations that people had for this team. It's clear that the Diamondbacks as a team embraced that. And clearly Zac Gallen was right at the center of that, embracing those narratives throughout the postseason and taking the Diamondbacks much farther than they were expected to go.
So what kind of fan energy are we bringing next year?
I mean, you have to think like we've seen this in the past where when the Diamondbacks make the postseason, it feels like the next year is really when you feel it, where there's a different energy from opening day as the season gets going. And I have to expect that that's what will happen in 2024. Like on opening day, I think Chase Field is probably going to be rocking a little bit more than it has been in years past.
Yeah.
The D-backs are going to be putting up an NL pennant banner, right? Like you have to think that people are going to rally around this team in a way that they haven't before. And Zac Gallen is certainly counting on that and hoping for that. And I think fans will probably deliver. It might not still be the crowds you see at other stadiums around the league. I don't think the D-backs are going to be selling out every night or anything, but it should be noticeably better than what we've seen in years past.